nobody starts a business to become a slave to it. You know, if you're an employee and you want to start a business, you don't trade one slave master for the other. You know what I mean? I can't get my head around it at all. Am I missing something? Why do we do it? By we, I mean self-employed folk. By it, I mean bending over backwards, crawling over broken glass, effectively, to please a customer who will replace you in a heartbeat if they get a cheaper option. I want to be clear, okay? I'm not saying every single customer is like that. Some customers are a pleasure to deal with. Some folk are quite frankly a pain in the arse. I've got a friend of mine, George, who runs an exterior cleaning business in the northwest of England. George took his wife. Give you an idea of what I mean by this, right? George takes his fiancée to Mexico. While he's in Mexico at 1 o'clock in the morning, when he's on holiday, he's fielding calls. He's, you know, dealing with quotes, dealing with customers, dealing with scheduling, you know, effectively putting fires out from the other side of the world. And I want to be clear, you know, George is a good friend of mine, and I've got a lot of time for him. I've got a lot of respect for him. You know, he's got he's you know, built a substantial business in cleaning, etc. But I think he's you know, he's the epitome of your stereotypical businessman who will literally bend over backwards. I give you another example. So that's you know, that would be bad enough, you know, if it was just him taking calls when he was on holiday at 1 o'clock in the morning. But me and George, we went clay pigeon shooting a while back, and we got into talking about sort of, you know, organising a business and all this sort of stuff. And he's, you know, running around like a lunatic and all this sort of stuff. And I seem to be sort of a little bit more chill, if you like, about the whole thing. I'm not going to pretend to have all the answers. You know, I do what works well for me. I don't have 30 plus staff working for me. But I do think that if you did have 30 odd staff working for him, you couldn't, you know, you're telling me you can't find one of them to delegate to, take the strain off you, you know. So he was answering calls again while we were sort of clay pigeon shooting and doing a few bits, and, you know, sort of nipping off to take a call somewhere, or yeah, chatting away whilst he's fielding a text and all this sort of stuff. And we got onto the subject of sort of, well, you know, what would you do if a customer rings you on a weekend? Now, sometimes I will field a call on a weekend if I'm expecting a call from someone to confirm a booking, confirm a date, etc., and confirm the needs of a job for that day. But for the most part, if I'm not expecting that phone number, if I'm not expecting that call, then quite frankly, the customer can leave a message and I'll get back to them when I'm at work. I've recently lost a commercial job with a management company that they wanted me to do the internal window cleaning and exterior window cleaning of some communal stairways attached to the flats. A handful of the residents actually pay us to clean their residential windows as well, but the you know, the communal stuff we've lost. And as usual, whenever I've lost a customer, if the reason's not been apparent, then I always ring them and you know, or speak to them face to face and sort of find out, you know, what, you know, why they've come. Oftentimes it's not a negative, you know, they've changed, they're handing over control of the property to someone else and they don't want us to carry on, and little things like that. Very rarely is it a case of something being really negative, or the work's not up to par, Chris, we're not very happy with the work and all this sort of stuff. I've never lost a commercial job because the customer has been unhappy with the work. But they did tell me that the reason that they were going, you know, they were getting rid of us was because we were charging that extra VAT, which is 20%. But it just goes to show that the people that are replacing us are doing the job for £10 a month cheaper than us. So, you know, it is all about money. But it goes back to what I was saying about George, right? Now, George got a call from a massive shopping centre in the northwest. I'm not going to say the name of this shopping centre, but anybody that lives in the northwest will know this shopping centre. If I said it out loud, they would know exactly which one it is. The company that run the facilities basically rung George at, you know, I think it was like 7 o'clock in the evening. They rang him and said, we need you to come and do some cleaning works on some, I think it was cladding or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a big job. We need you to come and do it on a night shift within 24 hours. And the money that was, you know, for the job that was being banded around, you know, was a substantial amount of money, but they wanted him within 24 hours to do it. The problem is, right, is if you take on a customer that says, you know, it's an emergency job, I need you to do this X, Y, and Z and all that sort of stuff. If you take that customer on, do you think that their organisational planning will improve, you know, the next time they need you? Or do you think that they're just going to expect you to come running because you did it last time? Because I think I know what the answer is. These types of jobs and these types of customers, it is genuinely not worth bending over backwards, crawling over broken glass, you know, doing, you know, going above and beyond for ultimately a customer that will replace you because they can get your service cheaper elsewhere. They'll just drop you at a whim. You know, let's be real about this. You know, the services that you offer, certainly in our industry in cleaning, it's transactional. The services that we offer are purely transactional. And if they can find your service cheaper elsewhere, then you're getting binned, quite frankly, oftentimes. I'm all for giving good customer service, and I'm all for, you know, looking at, you know, making sure the customer's happy, etc. But not at the expense of me being, you know, sort of spit roasted over a fire. And George has ended up doing a full day of, you know, work during the day. He's gone home, he's had his tea, and he's gone straight back out and done a night shift. And then he's come back home, had a couple of hours kip, and got straight back up at the crack of a sparrow's fart to go again for another day shift. I'm thinking to myself, you're mad. You're utterly mad. I can't get my head around it. I would sooner have my operation remain the same size that it is. If it means that if I get any bigger, I'm going to end up running myself like that, I'll forget it. You know, I won't do it. But I find it interesting that someone in a smaller business, yes, I am a smaller operation, can leverage these things out, can organise it, and not force myself to bend over backwards for the customer. On the flip side, if you know, with someone who's got a business the size of George's, it's my vehement belief that if you've got 30 staff and you're running around like a lunatic, then in my humble opinion, you're doing something wrong, because you have the means to take on a manager, promote within, promote a worker from within to take the strain off you. But I suspect it's because he's of that mindset where he has his way of doing things, his standards, etc., and he doesn't trust other people to be able to deliver the service the way he wants it delivering. And I get that, but you are asking for a heart attack. You are asking to have a stroke if you continuously run yourself like that. And as much as I give George a bit of stick and a bit of grief sometimes, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, let alone a good friend. I mean, let me know your thoughts. what limits would you go to ultimately, you know, keep the customer happy? And would you make those personal sacrifices that effectively put you above and beyond anybody else? And do you think it'll benefit you? Me personally, you know, I see things as purely transactional. The task is performed to the required standard, you know, and it's a high standard, but the task is performed to a high standard, but only the required standard. And then, you know, payment is due, and then I will see you next month, kind of thing. I'm not the sort of person to, you know, sacrifice my family time. You know, why do we do this? You know, this is the thing that makes me laugh is nobody starts a business to become a slave to it. You know, if you're an employee and you want to start a business, you don't trade one slave master for the other. You know what I mean? I can't get my head around it at all. Am I missing something? Let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video, as per usual. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you all later. All the very best.